Hi, y'all. Welcome, friends. Maybe I should say that. And happy spring. I just figured I would on my front porch and tell y'all a little story about my teeth. Does anybody want to learn a life lesson today? And I'm using my teeth as an illustration. If I think of the most often asked question that I encounter these days, especially on Periscope, is tell me about your teeth. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to tell y'all about my teeth, okay? Anybody like my smile? So everybody says, your teeth are so white. How do you get your teeth so white? Or your smile's perfect. You know, tell me about that. So I was just at the dentist yesterday getting my twice a year cleaning. So I figured, well, this would be a great time to tell y'all a little story about my teeth. Here's the way the story started. I was on a cruise a couple of years ago with my parents, and I was having a severe toothache. Very severe, probably due to the fact that I had not been to the dentist in 10 years at the time. And at the time that I had been to the dentist 12 years ago now, I had a root canal with no anesthesia. Seriously, the anesthesia did not work, and at the time I didn't know why it didn't work, but now I know. It didn't work, and I was literally crying. Tears are running down my eyes as I was getting this root canal, and she couldn't stop in the middle of it, and I was literally traumatized. Well, we didn't have insurance, and that root canal cost me a lot of money and a lot of physical pain. And for Susan, I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about because you're going through that right now. But anyway, thank y'all for joining, and thanks for the hearts. And I know that this is going to be a story that you'll be able to relate to at one time or another. I don't think anybody loves going to the dentist, but if you've been traumatized and if you had to pay cash for it, it is seriously expensive. So it can be traumatic in many different ways. So I was just traumatized. And so my dad and I were having a conversation after lunch one day and out by the pool. And I was struggling because I had to completely avoid one side of my mouth and avoid sweets and avoid things that were going to cause my broken tooth to react in more pain than I was already having. And I was having to take Tylenol several times a day to manage the pain of my toothache, my chronic toothache. Let me just say it that way. So, and at this point, it had become more than one tooth that was really giving me chronic problems. So I had neglected my teeth for quite a while, and I brushed twice a day and I did my best to whiten them with, you know, the grocery store white strips, which still hurt because my teeth had gotten to be so sensitive. Well, my dad just had a talk with me, and it was one of those talks that you don't really like having at all. I think it would come under the category of, some people would call it a rebuke or a correction or let's say an opportunity for growth, okay? And he just said, Trina, don't neglect your teeth any longer. You've neglected your teeth too long, and you're gonna have to take care of it. So do whatever you have to do, but stop neglecting your teeth. And you know, it was one of those conversations that wasn't really a conversation. It was just him telling me that, you know, it was a correction. It was a rebuke. So this brings me to the life lesson for today, y'all. Proverbs. There's several scriptures in Proverbs that talk about this type of a situation of when there is correction, serious correction. They were brown on the bottom. They were crooked. They were a lot of decay, cavities that were falling out, cavities and fillings, old fillings that had been broken. So a lot of problems, yeah, and cosmetically they didn't look great either. But nevertheless, it brought me to this point in my life where I was just having to face it because my dad was basically forcing me to face it. And it was something I didn't want to face. I didn't like the idea of it. I couldn't afford it. I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to spend the money on it. But here I was, and I for sure didn't want to face the pain of having to go through, I knew a lot of procedures to really get my mouth the way that it needed to be. So one of the scriptures that comes to mind about that conversation that day is in Proverbs. There's several scriptures here. I'm going to say Proverbs chapter 10, verse 17. Those who accept a rebuke are on the pathway to life. Those who accept discipline are on a pathway to life, but those who ignore correction will go astray. Okay, and let's turn to a few more scriptures. There's a lot that I could turn to. I'm just going to highlight a few today. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 1. To learn, you must love correction. You must love discipline. It is stupid to hate correction. Y'all, that is so hard to think about it, because you know what? The thing that we resist about correction is it makes us feel stupid, right? And nobody wants to feel stupid. And it doesn't take a whole lot, because we already feel stupid. So that if someone else points out the fact that we need to make a change, it makes you even feel more stupid, right? Well, yeah, Mom, exactly. I mean, I was already defensive and felt criticized and was already embarrassed, and it's not something you want to talk about. So one more proverb here. These were the scriptures I was avoiding, Mom. Let's just say that. So I'm going to read one more. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 10. Okay? Whoever abandons the right path will be severely disciplined. Okay? Whoever hates correction will die. Literally will die. Well, my teeth were dying. So at this point in my life, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to embrace this correction and figure out a way to make this happen. So I came home from the cruise and I Googled sedation dentistry. Because even though I'm really into natural everything, and I don't take medication, and I don't like going to the doctor, and I'm all about the natural remedies, I knew that in order for me to really follow through with this, I was going to have to be sedated. So I looked up sedation dentistry, and I found a dentist that specialized in sedation dentistry, high anxiety dental clients. And you know, it's so funny because in every area of my life, I consider myself to be someone that, you know, that wasn't really fearful. I was really brave and courageous and full of faith in every other area. But as far as dentistry, I'm like, no, high anxiety. Okay, high anxiety. So they specialized in patients like me. And I left their website because at the bottom of the website, there were even some scripture. And I was like, oh, perfect. He's a Christian. He's close to my house, and he specializes in sedation dentistry. So I went in for my consultation, and they looked at my mouth, and we talked about what they would do, what they could do. And he just said, honestly, you need a full mouth rehab. You need a lot of work done. And he assured me, we'll take care of you. We'll make you comfortable. You won't be in pain. And we're just going to make sure that, you know, that you get through this process with as much comfort as possible. Well, okay, he was kind of lying, y'all. Seriously. He really was, but he was kind of telling the truth, because they did do their best to make me comfortable. But honestly, there's nothing comfortable about going to the dentist. Seriously, nothing. And he didn't tell me at the moment, but later he told me, see, I know that you guys have to, I can relate to this, right? Later, he told me that you can't actually completely sedate somebody in a dental chair, or you could drown them, because they have to use so much water during the procedures. But anyway, so I said, okay, sign me up. I've got to do this. So whatever it takes, we're going to make it happen. And of course, how much is it going to cost me? He's like, well, you could get a new car, or you could get your mouth fixed. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll get my mouth fixed, because I really don't have a choice at this point. So I committed to doing that. And when I committed, at the time, I had no idea of the commitment I was actually making. But I was actually making a commitment of sitting in his office for between 1 to 3 hours about every other week from March through October. And had I realized at the time that I was signing up for a huge time commitment and a huge financial commitment, you know, I'm not sure that I would have gone through with it, just because the anxiety was already so high. But at the time, I didn't know that. At the time, I was just taking it one step at a time. And y'all know, if you know me very well, you know that I am a counselor and I'm an ordained Christian minister. So there's a lot of things that I know. I know what the word says and I believe the Bible's true. So I read these scriptures that I just read to you and even more beyond that. And I just said, I've just got to do this. I've got to make it right. It's not right. I need to accept the correction and just do it. And so, also, I knew that God would give me the strength to get me through what I needed to do. And I also knew that he would provide financially to pay for it. In fact, years previous, I was working at a job. And at the job that I was working at, there was a candy dish there. And y'all, I have been literally a candy person. I love candy. I've loved candy my whole entire life. I still love candy. I love, love, love candy. But I wasn't able to eat much candy at this job because every time I would eat it, my tooth would hurt. Okay, I had a cavity that needed to be repaired. So I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to stop eating candy and I'm going to fast and pray every time I want candy that you will provide for my dental work. Now, I had started praying for that a couple years before this opportunity had arisen. Well, at this time, I was like, okay, God, I have been praying that you will provide for me financially to get this dental work done. And so I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust that you're going to help me. Y'all, I've been talking all week about worry and trading off worry for trust. And you guys both know, when we trust in God, we just have to, we got to lay down the worry. We've got to make the trade. There you go. There's me, Carlin, just all about the candy. But we want to make the trade and really have faith to believe whatever it is that we need to believe. And for me at the time, I just needed to believe that I would have the courage to get through this and that God would give me the strength to not quit halfway through and really give me that inner strength to really, what he says, to be victorious over the situation. So I just continued to trust God. And as it turned out, I ended up getting this full mouth rehab and veneers. And I didn't even know what I was signing up for at the time. But I got veneers. At first he put temporaries on and then he put the permanent veneers on. And it is the best thing that I ever did. It was a huge investment of time and money and just faith, a really big walk of faith for me. And it has turned out to be really the biggest blessing in my life, especially, over the past several years. And one of the blessings is I got a new smile, which is really great. And another thing is my teeth are healthy. They are in good shape. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm in a really good routine of flossing daily and brushing twice daily like I always did. But now I also use these trays, these whitening trays, a few days a week to just keep them white. And, so I'm in a really good routine. I was never one to really get in a good habit of flossing daily. Well, now I do, because I need to keep my gums healthy. And, I just don't want to go back to that time in my life where I had completely neglected something that I needed to steward better. So that is my story of just stepping up and making improvements with myself, changing my habits of taking care of my teeth, and the way that God really blessed me as I was able to receive that correction into my life and then make the adjustment and then make the investment of faith, really make the investment of faith and time and energy to just do what I needed to do. Y'all, I don't know what it is that you need to face today, but whatever it is, I promise you can get through it. Now, it is pretty much baby steps, right? A step at a time, a day at a time. But when you have the courage to face whatever correction really needs to be made, you'll end up having a genuine smile, okay? That'll come from the inside out. And I'm so glad that I did it. And I hope that you do it too. Whether it's actually going to the dentist or whether it's something else that you're working on, y'all embrace the opportunity for growth. Okay, we all need to grow. We never get at a time in our life where we're like, okay, everything's great with me. I don't have to worry about any more growing. No more personal growth. I'm done with that. I've arrived. I've achieved all the personal growth I will ever need to have, right? I don't think so, y'all. We all need to continue to grow personally. So whatever it is that you need to tackle in your personal growth, y'all go for it because you'll be glad you did. Thanks for periscoping with me, and I'll be back later tonight at 9 o'clock, and I'm with you every day at noon and 9 Texas time, Central Standard Time. And if you'd like to check out past periscopes, you can go on my website, TrinaTitusLozano.com, and just watch some of the replays there. Replays about goals and desires, replays about, you like my story? Replays about goals and desires, the replays on fear and anxiety and all those things that we all have to be able to overcome. Okay, y'all. God bless you. Have a great day, and I'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight. Bye-bye.